Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His name is everywhere, his statements spark heated debates, but what about his personal health? In this video, we're revealing the top 5 things he either strictly adheres to or completely ignores in his pursuit of longevity. Well then, let's get started. Number 5. Minimizing exposure to electromagnetic fields. This is perhaps one of RFK Jr.'s more unconventional health habits, yet one he speaks about with conviction: actively minimizing exposure to electromagnetic fields, EMFs. He argues that the ubiquitous presence of modern technologies, such as cell phones, Wi-Fi routers, and smart meters, emits non-ionizing radiation that can have detrimental effects on human health, including neurological issues, sleep disturbances, and even a weakened immune system. He often cites studies and anecdotal evidence suggesting a link between EMF exposure and various health complaints, particularly for sensitive individuals. His approach involves practical steps like turning off Wi-Fi at night, keeping cell phones away from the body, and creating EMF-free zones in his living spaces. He views this as a crucial, often overlooked aspect of environmental health. Fact check: the scientific community's consensus on the health effects of non-ionizing EMFs, the type emitted by common electronic devices, is that there is currently no conclusive evidence of harmful effects at typical exposure levels. Major health organizations like the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, state that more research is needed, but current evidence does not support a causal link between routine EMF exposure and adverse health effects. However, some researchers and advocacy groups maintain that long-term, low-level exposure could pose risks, particularly for vulnerable populations, and ongoing research continues to explore this complex area. RFK Jr.'s proactive approach to limiting EMF exposure, while not universally endorsed by mainstream science, reflects a precautionary principle adopted by some who remain concerned about potential long-term impacts. Number 4. Avoiding processed foods and seed oils. RFK Jr. is a vocal proponent of eliminating processed foods and industrial seed oils from his diet. He frequently argues that these modern dietary staples are primary drivers of chronic disease and inflammation. His stance aligns with a growing body of research suggesting a link between highly processed foods and various health issues, including obesity, heart disease, and autoimmune conditions. He often points to the historical shift in the American diet, noting that many of the health problems we see today were far less prevalent before the widespread introduction of processed foods and certain vegetable oils. His arguments often echo the sentiments of nutritionists and researchers who advocate for a return to whole, unprocessed foods. Fact check: the scientific community generally agrees that a diet high in processed foods is detrimental to health. These foods are often calorie-dense, nutrient-poor, and high in unhealthy fats, sugar, and sodium. The role of seed oils, particularly those high in omega-6 fatty acids, is a more contentious topic. While some researchers argue that an imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids can promote inflammation, others contend that moderate consumption of certain seed oils, like canola or sunflower oil, can be part of a healthy diet. However, there's a broad consensus that partially hydrogenated oils, trans fats, often found in processed foods, are harmful. RFK Jr.'s emphasis on whole, unprocessed foods is largely supported by dietary guidelines globally. He often speaks about the hidden toxins in our food supply, a phrase that resonates with many who feel increasingly disconnected from the source and composition of their meals. He suggests that the industrialization of food has prioritized shelf life and cost over nutritional value and human health. This perspective aligns with criticisms from various food activists and health experts who highlight the declining nutrient density of produce and the proliferation of additives in modern food production. Number 3. Limiting exposure to environmental toxins. RFK Jr. has long been a prominent voice in the environmental health movement, tirelessly campaigning against pollutants and advocating for a cleaner environment. His personal health philosophy deeply integrates the belief that minimizing exposure to environmental toxins is paramount for preventing illness. He often speaks about the cumulative impact of chemicals in our air, water, and food on human health, linking them to a rise in chronic diseases, autoimmune disorders, and developmental issues. He frequently highlights specific toxins such as pesticides, heavy metals like mercury and lead, and industrial chemicals, arguing that these substances disrupt endocrine function, damage cellular processes, and compromise the immune system. His arguments are often rooted in a precautionary principle, suggesting that even low-level, long-term exposure to these substances can have significant adverse health effects. Fact check. There is extensive scientific evidence linking environmental toxins to various health problems. Exposure to heavy metals, pesticides, and certain industrial chemicals has been associated with neurological disorders, cancers, reproductive issues, and autoimmune diseases. Organizations like the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and the World Health Organization, WHO, have established guidelines and conduct research on safe exposure limits. While the exact dose-response relationship for all toxins is still being studied, the general principle of minimizing exposure to known harmful substances is widely accepted in public health. RFK Jr.'s focus on this area is well-founded, aligning with global efforts to reduce environmental pollution and protect human health. Number 2. Regular exercise, and outdoor activity. RFK Jr. is an avid outdoorsman and athlete, and he consistently champions the benefits of regular exercise, particularly in nature. He views physical activity not just as a means to maintain physical fitness, but as a critical component of mental well-being, immune function, and overall resilience. His personal routine reportedly includes activities like kayaking, hiking, and strength training. He often emphasizes the importance of sunlight exposure for vitamin D synthesis and the calming effect of being in natural environments. He believes that modern lifestyles, characterized by prolonged indoor living and sedentary habits, contribute significantly to poor health outcomes. For RFK Jr., exercise is more than just burning calories. It's about connecting with the natural world and stimulating the body's innate healing mechanisms. Fact check. The benefits of regular exercise are overwhelmingly supported by scientific evidence. Physical activity reduces the risk of chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, certain cancers, improves mental health, reduces stress, anxiety, and depression, enhances cognitive function, strengthens the immune system, and promotes better sleep. Spending time outdoors has additional benefits, including increased vitamin D levels from sun exposure, reduced stress, nature's calming effect, and improved mood. While vitamin D supplementation can be effective, natural sunlight exposure is a primary source. RFK Jr.'s emphasis on regular exercise and outdoor activity aligns perfectly with established public health recommendations. Number 1. Minimizing exposure to mercury and other heavy metals. At the top of RFK Jr.'s list of health priorities is the stringent minimization of exposure to mercury and other heavy metals. This is a topic he has extensively researched, written about, and passionately campaigned on for decades. His conviction stems from a deep belief that mercury, even at low levels, is a potent neurotoxin and a significant contributor to a wide array of chronic health issues, including neurological disorders, autoimmune diseases, and developmental problems, particularly in children. He often draws a direct link between mercury exposure and conditions like autism spectrum disorder, citing controversial studies and anecdotal evidence, though this specific link is not accepted by mainstream medical and scientific organizations. Regardless of the controversy surrounding its role in specific conditions, RFK Jr.'s overall emphasis on reducing heavy metal exposure is a cornerstone of his health philosophy. He advocates for avoiding mercury in dental amalgam fillings, certain types of seafood, especially large predatory fish, and has historically raised concerns about mercury-containing preservatives in vaccines, a position that has put him at odds with public health authorities and established scientific consensus on vaccine safety. Fact check. Mercury is a well-documented neurotoxin, and high levels of exposure can cause severe health problems. The World Health Organization, WHO, and other global health bodies recognize mercury as a major public health concern. Exposure sources include industrial pollution, certain types of seafood due to bioaccumulation of methylmercury, and historically, some medical and dental products. Public health guidelines exist to limit exposure to mercury, particularly for vulnerable populations like pregnant women and young children. While there is broad scientific consensus on the toxicity of mercury, the specific link RFK Jr. often makes between vaccine-derived mercury, thimerosal, and autism has been extensively studied and definitively disproven by numerous large-scale independent scientific studies. However, his general emphasis on minimizing exposure to known heavy metal toxins through diet and environmental awareness is consistent with public health recommendations regarding environmental toxins. So there you have it, the top 5 habits Robert F. Kennedy Jr. credits with helping him maintain his remarkable health. From dietary discipline and environmental awareness to focused detoxification and physical activity, his approach is a testament to a deeply held belief in the body's innate healing capacity when supported by a clean environment and conscious choices. If you found RFK Jr.'s insights compelling and agree with his emphasis on personal responsibility for health, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into health and wellness topics. May your journey toward optimal health be filled with clarity, vitality, and well-being. Thank you for watching.